Help protect us from racism and xenophobia by becoming an I Love Black People ambassador today. Join on iloveblackpeople.com. No matter where you are in the world, join us today and get access to the I Love Black People network. Special thanks to Banneker Communities.
Greetings, amazing, dynamic, wonderful, incredible, supportive, caring, sharing, loving, I Love Black People listeners, followers, and members. Thank you so much for making this a wonderful year and enjoying this wonderful journey. I think the older I get, I'm clear that it's not the destination, it's the journey. And to be able to travel with you has made it that much more enriching. So thank you so much, everyone who continues to support I Love Black People in a way that is super great. And thank you for sending your advice, your messages, info at iloveblackpeople.com, as well as topics and issues. Definitely, we appreciate it. And we couldn't do this without you. And as you know, Sinclair Skinner, co-founder I Love Black People. And, we're a tech startup. I'm an engineer, went to Tuskegee, Booker T. Washington, 1881, and the Howard University, the Mecca, 1867. And I'm not going to do the oldest Howard thing, so I'm not into folks who killed that many indigenous people, but definitely HBCU, HBCU, and I think it's important that we continue the momentum from our ancestors and all the work that's been done to elevate the incredible contributions of our people to this planet. And we're so thankful for all those contributions, and we're going to continue it. I think one of the things that we celebrate at I Love Black People Radio and with the startup is just how amazing our community is. We, a tech startup. We, of course, we're talking about tech, but really the power comes from us, from the unity, from our amazing dynamic spirit. That's the real secret sauce. The technology allows us to do some things in a very scalable way and connect us in ways that history, through some very problematic, tragic, as well as very violent things, have done to separate us. And I think one of the things that's incredible is our continued affinity to come back together, no matter how much has been done to separate us, to divide us. Our interest, our spirit, our energy to reunite is just phenomenal, and I don't see it really in any other places. So that energy, that spirit, it's I won't say intoxicating, but it's definitely captivating, and it continues to elevate the work we do, inspire the work we do, and ensure that we are the ones that they're going to create the solutions to the problems that we face. And of course, our focus is again, our mission is to protect our community from racism and Afrophobia by literally creating a global safety net through Pan African unity. And when I bring all those pieces together, it's literally Afrophobia is the irrational fear or hatred of people perceived to be of African descent. And I say it like that because not everywhere you go do Black people know exactly where they're from. They know where they live, and in many cases, they know who their mama is. But when you start talking about the things that we've gone through as a people, there's been some very traumatic things that have separated us from our homelands. And this is not immigration. This is literally, some of the most horrific crimes against humanity. In spite of that, our people, no matter where they are on the planet, have continued to bring a spirit of family, a spirit of humanity everywhere we've gone, and that spirit of humanity inspires us again to make sure that no matter where we are on the planet, that we can live fearlessly, that we can live without being harmed or humiliated. And that again, whatever you call yourself, we don't get into there's people who always are into the name game and nomenclature. I think everyone deals with their trauma differently. Everyone arrives to their understanding of self in a different way. So it's important that we use this as a way to make sure that we are the ones that actually are keeping the information that we need in our community so that we're the ones that actually benefit from it. So that's a key ingredient. And as we continue to build what we're building, that we make sure that everything that we do is done in a way that inspires our people and gives us the clear understanding of what needs to be done so that we can literally build and be the ones that we've been waiting for. With that being said, you know, we also have the interest of making sure that we're protected. And how we do that by coming together and us working collectively. In many ways, oftentimes we don't talk about that collectiveness in a way that's is helpful, but it doesn't have to be us being unified on everything. Like literally, we represent really people from a wealth of different backgrounds, and these different backgrounds and diversity within our blackness. So none of this is about all of us thinking the same way and doing the same thing. It's literally about making sure, no matter what we think, how we approach these different issues, that we're safe. We're safe from Afrophobia, the irrational fear and hatred of Black people or people perceived to be of African descent. Those are the things that are key when we start talking about how we best understand what we need to do as a people. These are the things that are important. So as we continue to build on this, we make sure that we keep our people together so that we can instill the things that are necessary in order to protect our people, as well as in order to continue to grow and be a part of a world that is super amazing. So with that being said, I think it's important that we also contribute more of this conversation to how we as a collective, using our different interests, different backgrounds, work together. And the I Love Black People mission, I think leveraging technology is really key to that. And when we say interest, when we talk about protection, I think they come together. We have 8 categories. The original, and let me just say this, I Love Black People, the premise of what we're doing is really based on something that was done for over 30 years already. This is not new. Okay. So I'm not coming to you saying that, I did something. This is us, one. We stand on the shoulders of our ancestors. We don't practice any generational chauvinism. There's nothing that we're doing that in any way is exceptional in the sense that our ancestors haven't done exceptional things. They've done exceptional things, and our children will too. That being said, each generation has a obligation to fulfill its destiny or betray it. So our obligation is to continue that in the footsteps of people like Victor Green, who was the one who established the original Green Book. And the original Green Book was literally a directory of Black friendly places throughout the United States to prevent Black people in America during what we call Jim Crow, which is like apartheid in the United States, which was legalized racism, legalized segregation, separation that oftentimes led to Black people being lynched, harmed, raped, killed, and robbed. And instead of waiting on the government, instead of waiting on churches, instead of waiting on nonprofits, literally, Victor Green utilized what we call today crowdsourcing. He was crowdsourcing before it was a word called crowdsourcing. And he had people contribute to this book every year of places that we could go. And he focused on 3 categories: transportation, places to stay, and food. And in that, he covered the areas where when you were traveling, you could definitely be made sure to be safe. Now, initially, we thought that was it was a travel concept, but it's not. What COVID taught us in a real way is that travel is just but one vulnerability. It's only but one situation where you are vulnerable because you don't know anyone, and that certain decisions become very heightened in their consequences because of that vulnerability. But travel is just one. When you're sick, you're vulnerable. the decisions you make and the consequences are heightened to a point that you could die making the wrong decision. And we've seen Serena Williams, almost, she was almost killed by giving birth by her doctors. And again, racism played a pivotal part in that. And she's wealthy, healthy, famous, and married to a white man. None of those things saved her. She still was victimized by a racism and an Afrophobia, where she was mistreated because of that's this racism, and she was almost killed. And then you think about things like legal. We've seen too often uh, how laws that may seem fair on paper administered, adjudicated in a very racist way. And that's a vulnerability. You're now being jeopardized in a legal issue that could end up having you incarcerated, or in America, where they still have the death penalty, as archaic and as savage as that is, it could lead to death. And we've seen numerous cases of, again, racists jailing black people, and they're not having any real recourse or redress. So we realized that we could start with the three that Victor Green so masterfully with his wife accomplished, but also we wanted to extend it to other areas of vulnerability like legal, healthcare, childcare, and education, as well as finance, beauty, and transportation. So when you see all these categories, these are areas of interest people have. Now, everybody may not be interested in healthcare. Your thing might be finance. Your thing might be education. Someone else's thing might be legal. We're literally building a global safety net to protect our communities, utilizing these Black friendly places, brick and mortar, real places, and people who are interested in identifying and sharing this information. And that's the key. The key is the people. The locations, the places that are safe are very important. But those who are interested in sharing this information, we realize are some of the most amazing folks. And so we're really building this out. And now we have over 30,000 locations. So in the upcoming year, we're going to be sharing those 30,000 locations of safe places, Black friendly places that have been identified by our members. And some people go, how do they do that? How do they decide what's Black friendly? Well, we're taking something that's already been done. Again, going back to Victor Green, amazing man he was. This is all crowdsourced. We already informally share places and things to do already each other. But what we're doing now with I Love Black People is actually formalizing it and digitizing it. So, one of the things that I benefit from, and just to be very candid, is I went to HBCUs. I went to Howard and Tuskegee. So I have a vast network of relationships all over the world, literally, of alums of Tuskegee and Howard University. And also, I'm a member of Kappa Alpha Psi, a Greek letter, again, giving credit to the Greeks, unfortunately. A stolen legacy. We're clear that that legacy was stolen from Egypt, African people. But that being said, I have a host of resources to use and utilize in order to solve a problem. But everybody doesn't have that exposure. It's important that I share my resources with everyone else, and everyone else, if you can, share your resources. And that's what we can do with our status or our positions. To make it this far, we should be able to share this information with those who don't have access. And we do it informally through our families, with people we know, but we should be able to do it also with strangers. And I think that's the part that makes what we're doing so amazing. The fact that people are willing to share this information. This is a way to contribute. Oftentimes, people get frustrated. What can I do? Get overwhelmed. Uh, Recent election, a world class, lifelong public servant is defeated by someone who's racist and misogynist, white supremacist. that can throw people off. You'd be like, man, where's the world coming to? Where people who have literally demonstrably said that and done things that are harmful as it relates to whole bodies of people, and those things are ignored. And I just want to be clear, we never look for perfection in these so-called leaders, but if someone clearly lets you know they're white supremacists, you should believe them, and there's consequences for that. With that being said, we have to do, if deliberate things are being done to harm us, we must be doing deliberate things to protect ourselves. We're not waiting for any politician to save us. We're going to save ourselves, just like our wonderful ancestors who have been a part of the one of the longest, proudest, relentless resistance to white supremacy in the history of worldkind. Our people have refused to surrender to it, and we've seen other populations decimated by white supremacy, and we're still here, and we refuse to surrender, and we will continue. And one of the best ways to continue is leveraging technology and our unity and our affinity to want to be together and to create a better place for everyone. Uh, so that being said, I think it's important that we're able to leverage these different categories and share those categories with as many people and know you have something to contribute. We're valuable. One of the things that's been unfortunate lately, we hear so much talking about financial literacy and wealth building to the point where it's almost as if we think our values in our wallet or our bank account. And that's not to say that we're glorifying poverty, but we must realize we're not going to capitalist our way out of this. Like colonialism, capitalism, these are very much just very similar things. And they come from something that's probably not as natural as collectivism and us working together voluntarily. And that those are, things that are important for us to emphasize with our family and our community. And as we continue to build I Love Black People, these are the things that we're working through and working on. And the app is the center point of that coming together. And we'll be continuing to build on the app with these projects. I think it's so important that we leverage our ability to communicate and work together through our own devices and our own applications. So I Love Black People becomes pivotal and key in that communication. And that is important. And how we link our communities together with the work we're doing. And so one of the things that's important is literally talking about some of the work we're going to be doing this upcoming year, leveraging the app I Love Black People, built on the same premise of the original Green Book to protect us. And we're doing it in a global way, a digital way. And that being said, we're embarking upon a few very, I think, relevant projects. One of our categories is food. And the original Green Book, of course, had restaurants, markets, places people get something to eat. We've taken it even back to the fork to the farm to the fork. So we're literally working with Zimbabwe women farmers and elevating the use of greenhouses and solar energy in order to have our own ability to build the capacity for farming. And we're going to be working with institutions like Tuskegee, where, of course, George Washington Carver was world renowned in agriculture, and also UDC who has a greenhouse. And a lot of people don't know that there's a urban greenhouse uh, context to what they're doing. So working with my co-founder, Mr. Mapindera, these are things that we're able to leverage. And then we're going to connect all these things, leveraging even more technology, leveraging blockchain technology, being able to use uh, the power of sending value anywhere in the world almost instantly, leveraging blockchain technology to make sure these farmers receive their inputs, as well as are able to make transactions that are beneficial to the work they're doing. So much of what we're doing is centered around our unity globally, in a Pan African unity way. That's a part of our campaign, and working with the women farmers in Zimbabwe is a part of that. And then, in addition to that, we're also working on, I just purchased a house in Tuskegee, and it's on a historic street called Bibb Street. We've heard about Greenwood and some things with Tulsa, Oklahoma, but really the original Greenwood was in Tuskegee. Booker T. Washington literally is the one who actually, developed this movement of these black centers of amazing industry and industriousness and agriculture, as well as industry. And many other communities modeled themselves from uh, we call it the Tuskegee experiment. And with that being said, we want to be able to share that same thing. So a purchase of a location, and I think one of the things we're going to be doing is utilizing the concept of reclaiming, especially in the rural areas in the South, working together with our neighbors, working together with alum. uh, Shout out to Hope Credit Union, Bill Bynum, who financed the building, the purchase of the building, and we're going to be leveraging again black-owned finance companies to help us build out these enclaves in a way that again is about protecting and our communities. Creating oasis, safe havens for our people where we can go and not be subjected to the violence of racism and Afrophobia. So, in that theme, places to stay, we really see creating a Bibb Street, and they call it Buy Black Bibb Street. And we literally see this as a way to create more enclaves that are safe for our children and make sure that safe for our elders. And the financing and the collective work behind that is important. So that's another key aspect of the work that we're doing. Also, we've starting a nonprofit called the Black Blockchain Labs, and as you know, and many of you who have come to our Black Blockchain Summit, we're going on our eighth Black Blockchain Summit, and 8 years in the Bitcoin space is like 100 years in other spaces, at least 50. So to be in this space, building and creating for this long is definitely something we're proud of, and we want to share the good news of the work that we've done and make sure that our as many of our community members are able to benefit from that. So we're going to be definitely raising money to build that message and share as much as we can with as many people about how to be, you know, not just users but makers, as well as how to protect themselves from scams and all the negative things that come in the space of blockchain. So definitely be on the lookout for that, and we'll be also reaching out to you to raise money for this the Black women, the Zimbabwe women farmers, making sure that we have as many many resources as well as potential markets. One of the key things that has happened in Zimbabwe when they got their land back after fighting and winning in 1980. What happened was the Europeans all got together and basically shut them out of the markets that they had. Many of the crops they had would be sold in Europe at a premium. But once they defeated the Rhodesians, they tried to basically sabotage and not basically they sabotage and basically did a siege of the country. And the United States had sanctions, has continues to have sanctions to this day. In many ways, because of this racism and Afrophobia legacy after defeating, at war and battle white supremacy, they still are dealing with it in other ways, systemically. So what we tell people always is that our freedom, our liberation, we got to stay vigilant. At no point should we ever think that it's a destination and that somehow we've arrived. Therefore, we can let our guard down and we can just relax. We got to stay vigilant. As long as those are out there that covet our freedom, we're going to have to be vigilant and make sure that we continue to build and grow and create the world that we want to live in. And we have the tools, we have the ability, we got the pedigree and our ancestry to know that we can overcome and will do all these things. Uh, White supremacist ideology is just not sustainable. It's not natural. It's actually the opposite. It's against nature. If you've seen what's happened in the world from global warming to animal extinction to the pollution that we see in the world, this stuff is unacceptable. And the depopulation or the attempt to depopulate the world, the diseases that we've seen, much of this has come out of not being in tune with God and nature. And it's up to us to create the world we want to live in, not trying to imitate those who've done some of the most horrific things uh, in humanity. These are crimes against humanity and some of the most ruthless behavior. So we think it's very important that everyone understands that we're the ones we've been waiting on. Let's continue to do the good work that's necessary to be successful, and that through this hard work and dedication to our communities, we will 143. Also, if you want to make sure you're able to engage us properly, info at iloveblackpeople.com. We have an app downloaded on Apple Store as well as the um, uh, Google Play. We're literally have all the things that you need, and we're the ones that we've been waiting for. And with that being said, as I always leave us in a way that really shows our appreciation for everything everyone has done to support us, I am because we are. And
Help
thank you so
protect us
much.
from racism and xenophobia by becoming an I Love Black People ambassador today. Join on iloveblackpeople.com. No matter where you are in the world, join us today and get access to the I Love Black People network. Special thanks to Banneker Communities.